What's up, guys? We're out at Glamis right now. Got a chance to go through the sand Flea with owner Ryan. We just went out, did some shots of the car, and got a ride in it. This thing is super smooth, and it's been a really fun car. But tell me a little bit about the car. When did you get it? What's it got in it?
So I've been coming out here since I was a kid. Kind of grew up in these old cars. I really like the feel of a VW that lays low to the ground. I ended up buying this last year. Came with a 2500 in it. Ended up blowing it up on the first trip out. So
it's a thumper of a car.
Over the season we've been rebuilding, and now we're back out, and this is only the 4th or 5th ride we've been on, but she is handling great.
When it ran with the 2500, was that
pulling wheelies all day long?
Just flat ground, or?
Yeah, it's almost flat ground. Like pretty easily it would pull up the front wheels.
That's awesome.
I only got about 30 minutes in that ride until we sent the valve through the piston and snapped the camshaft in half, threw a rod through the case.
Jeez,
yeah,
dude,
everything went to shit.
Dang.
So now I'm babying the new motor and just trying to take a lot of care of her.
And what motor's in it now?
So now she's got a 2275.
Okay.
Still's got these are Delardo 48s actually.
Okay.
Anything else about that? 94 millimeter pistons, I know that. 82 millimeter crank. It's got the Autocraft trans on it.
You've got the Mendiola shifter as well.
Yeah.
I've only seen a few of these, and I actually have the same shifter on the white mid-travel Mazzone.
Okay.
And I've only seen it on, like, I think 1 or 2 other cars.
So you still got the backwards gears too?
No, mine's the normal, but I did notice that.
Well, that's nice, because we got 1 up and to the right, 2, 3, and then 4.
Yeah, that threw me off. We get in, and as soon as we start riding, he goes and puts it into 4th gear, and I'm like, wait a minute, dude, what are you doing? We're barely moving. He goes, nope, that's 2nd. I said, okay, I don't know anything, just keep going.
Dude, that is one thing we had a lot of fun of, is trying to figure out the shifting linkage and all the tiny parts that move. Any amount of play in these things really does cause a problem.
Yeah.
So we found one link where the pin is starting to fall out. Gave it just a tiny bit of play, replaced that with a brand new one. I found all 4 gears instantly.
Nice. Yeah, and it didn't seem like it has, like, it's super tight. There's no slop.
No, it's good now.
Yeah.
It was just that one little link that was a little bit of play, and it kept it from. I literally had 2 gears the night before coming out on the first ride, and I was like, oh, I gotta do something. Called my buddy in Riverside. He picked up a part. We welded it up at like 8 o'clock at night.
That's awesome.
Threw it back in the trailer and made it out.
That's cool. So is this your first Sandcar, or?
Yeah, this is my first Sandcar of mine, yeah.
What,
I've grown up riding motorcycles and quads, but I've always wanted something like this, especially now that I got my wife and she's gonna want to ride in something a lot comfier.
Absolutely. And that's another thing too. This car had the Fox shocks on it before you bought it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, these are, I mean, it's set up so good. Every Mazzone that I've personally owned, an old school car, has either had, I mean, honestly, they're all air shocks. I've had a couple of the emulsion ones and then a couple of the Marvin Shaw, and they do a really good job. But these ones, the biggest thing that I want to note is, with 2 of us in it, it had absolutely the right stiffness. The corners were awesome. I mean, is this something you and your wife ride in a lot?
Oh, she hasn't even gotten to ride in it yet. I've only been out a couple weeks, and she's still living in San Diego, so she's up for a surprise.
I'm a special one then.
I've already told her these cars are meant for going slow until you're in the smooth stuff, and she said she liked that, so we'll see how she enjoys it.
No, absolutely.
But for me, man, I've never had a car that hit the corners in the dunes like this car has. I mean, it blows me away when I'm freaking ripping in this thing.
Yeah. What's your plans with it so far?
So over this summer, I definitely want to fix the exhaust, get the headers redone, because we did beat the crap out of them trying to get them on and off.
Okay.
Other than that,
you're gonna stick with the flat stinger, or are you gonna point it out?
No, I want it straight out.
I like it.
Yeah, I want to keep it straight out, get the headers redone, just get them to where they fit a lot better and they're not quite touching the frame. Other than that, I do want to match the shocks, try to get some Foxes in the back, or just anything with a little bit more travel or not bowing out a little bit, because they're not the perfect shocks. They've been on here a while, I can tell. But other than that, just maintenance, keeping up on her, trying to keep her alive as long as possible. She doesn't need much work.
Right on. Very cool. So how long have you been coming out to the dunes for?
Since I was 2 years old, so 1998.
Okay.
Yeah,
right
I've been coming out here a long time. My dad was always into quads, built 250Rs and stuff, so I grew up on quads, but when I was real little, we would ride in a lot of VW cars that all the other people in the camp had. And my favorite thing was just riding on the side of a dune with the back end falling and just driving slowly and freaking all the girls out. Everybody hated it, but the guys loved it, man. And just these cars, dude, the lightness of them is incredible. I've never driven anything where you can just putt straight up a hill and just have no issues.
Yeah.
It's a blast, man.
Absolutely. What's so when you got this car, have you had to do any major work to it?
Oh yeah. So
I mean, other than the motor, of course, right?
Before the motor blew, I knew we had a little crack right here and a little crack right here.
Okay.
After we had the engine out, the original one that blew, down here, and we had the mount to the transmission cracked all the way across on both sides, and then we had cracks going around every single side of this thing. So all this was re-welded. We put plates in the corners to give it a little bit of support, and yeah, just tried to beef it up a little bit and try to keep it together.
I like while you're showing me that, I just noticed something that is not on a lot of cars, and you actually have tubes running all of your wiring through.
Oh yeah.
Not just, and these are hard. These are metal tubes these are sliding through. That's very cool. That's not very common. Out of all of the cars that I've owned, that's
new.
I've never seen that. That is very cool. And the same thing here. Check this out.
Yeah, hardline fuel lines too.
Hardline fuel lines. This is straight tubing all the way through the chassis. That is cool. Not into the actual tube. I've seen a lot of guys, like I just picked up a Mazzone that they actually ran the oil breather goes into the engine.
The frame.
Yep, the frame, and then it will slide down to the bottom, and then they drilled holes for it to leak out of. Custom, man. It's a hot rod. That's what it is. And clutch going through the hard line too. Pretty much everything's hard lined underneath and around the motor. Yeah, that's cool. Which I thought was normal on these, but that's pretty cool. It's not. No, I haven't seen them. In fact, my that is super cool. See, this is why I love these cars so much, especially these cars, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. There was so much ingenuity and creativity that went into it. Oh yeah. And the guys that were building them, the chassis for the most part are being, kicked out by the builder, but we left the DIY generation and now we're into a totally different one. Yeah. Now we're into a generation where people buy stuff that doesn't need shifted and just make a payment, but this is the kind of stuff that I like right here. Yeah. Something with gears, something where you can feel how you're driving. You get response from the car. No, this is super cool. Thanks, man. Glad you like it. So what do you do for a living? Obviously you get to come out here, and that's usually a blessing. So yeah, it is a blessing for sure. So I started living out here 6 months of the year doing campus style trailer rentals. Okay. So my father owned the business when I was young. I'm now a partial owner, and I'm out here 6 months of the year, and San Diego the other 6 months of the year. We do trailer rentals all the way through Glamis, and trailer rentals at Pacific Beach when we're in San Diego, and I just move back and forth every 6 months. Nice. So I get to stay out here. I get to come and ride when it's beautiful weather like this. I don't have to come out only on holiday weekends when it's all chopped up, Yeah. So I kind of get the best of both worlds, and I do like living out here in the middle of nowhere for a while, and then kind of going back to the city. It's a nice way to live my life. That's Absolutely. For sure. That's pretty cool. I know I've got a lot of friends that use you guys, and we see the trailers out there all the time. So is it, we expect to see more? Is it something that you guys are seeing growing, or is it getting away from it? We started growing into the 35 trailer range probably 8 years ago maybe, and that's pretty much our cap. We keep a couple good employees and 35 trailers, and the boss comes in on heavy weekends to come work, and it keeps us right where we're at. Anything over that, hiring more employees or more storage, it just doesn't quite make the money. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, 35 rigs is a lot to keep up on, but it's just enough for 2 or 3 guys to keep their minds wrapped around. Okay. And this is all the fun stuff that we get to do on the side. See, that's awesome. What was your commute in today? Commute in? Yeah. What, my work truck? Yeah, yeah. That's right. Driving the work truck. Yeah, if I could tow it with my Subaru, I would, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I got the F-250s. We got like 4 trucks now too, 4 or 5 actually. And I mean, it is a great business to be in with just driving all the time. I mean, driving is my life. I was racing motorcycles when I was a kid, when I was real little. Coming out here was the funnest thing I've ever had to do besides competing and racing. And then now being able to have my own car for the first time is a whole new experience in life. It's not just riding other people's shit and trying not to break it and then getting yelled at for breaking it. I get to break my own shit and then yell at myself now, which I am much happier doing. I like the self-responsibility out here.
Yeah, no, that's cool. There's definitely ownership is always a lot nicer.
Oh yeah. That's for sure.
I can personally say I've driven a lot of other people's cars.
I'm nervous, man.
Every time I step into one, I'm like, okay, let's just go through the checklist. Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. Everything needs to be perfect. The last thing I want to do is bring back a broken car and be responsible for something that, you know, I don't want to afford. So
same thing with this. I check everything on this car every time I take it out. I'm still learning her. Obviously, I haven't owned her for that long, and I've only been on a few rides. But checking every bolt, checking all the welds, making sure the frame's doing good is very important to me. It is only a like steel frame, so she cracks. She has her issues. Clearly, we fixed them, and we're back out here now. So just keep an eye on everything, give her some love, try to keep her shiny. That's what I'm here for.
That's awesome.
Here for the good vibes, man.
That's cool. So as far as work goes and everything, where do you guys actually, where are you based out of here?
So we store at Dune's Edge Storage with Kyle. It's a great gig, man. I actually live on the property for the 6 months while I'm out here. Got a small house there, so I'm really close to the dunes. And then back to San Diego, I have a place out in El Cajon, Lakeside area.
Okay.
And then I stay there. So I do a little more commuting to work, but out here, I wake up and I'm at work, man. It's great. I literally wake up, roll out of bed, and start working.
Dang, so you have what, from Dune's Edge, is that 15 minutes?
15 minutes from the start of Gecko Road, absolutely. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's great. The second I know we have a windstorm coming, the next day, if I don't have a lot of work, I am out here enjoying it.
See, that's where I'm like a little bit envious, you know?
Yeah, not many people get to do that.
That's pretty cool.
There's only a handful of people that live out here and live this life, and we're all a pretty tight community, which is great, man. I do love living out here. Getting to know everybody.
I used to live about 45 minutes away from the dunes up in Utah in Little Sahara.
Okay, yeah.
So it was the same, especially in the summertime. As soon as it got to about July, August, it's too hot to where nobody wants to be out there. It's like out here, you know?
Yeah.
But being that close, at least within an hour, we'd have a bunch of wind come through, and I would be there before the sun got up, have everything ready to go. We'd go dune for like 2 or 3 hours, come back, put everything away, and we still have the rest of the day to take care of whatever we need. It was awesome.
That's the way to do it, man.
So being these dunes out here, a little bit envious of you. That's pretty awesome. Oh man,
I can always find some clean stuff out here, unless, I mean, after Thanksgiving we had like no wind for like 3 or 4 weeks, and it was pretty chopped up, but I can almost find somewhere out here every weekend where I get a few good corners in, you know. But obviously stick away from the high traffic stuff on busy weekends.
That's cool. All right, on. Well, I'm super grateful that you know, you wanted to meet up and do a little walk around on the car and stuff. I'm excited to go through some of the pictures and the videos and stuff that we got. It looked pretty cool.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
And this car runs, I'm not gonna lie, a little better than I imagined. Not that I was expecting anything bad, but I was really curious about the front shock setup. I kind of thought that it would be possibly a little bit too stiff, and it's absolutely not. It's so perfect.
Nah, she runs great in the front, dude.
This car just absolutely stays planted as you would expect and, you know, hope a Mazzone to stay planted. This thing is it's a race car. So right on.
All right.
Thank you.
Of course.